Surviving on other planets is a challenge because each one has extreme conditions that are very different from Earth. Well, there are so many videos on YouTube for how long you will survive on other planets, but this video will give you proper detail. So in today's video, we will try to find out how long you will survive on other planets for and why. But before I start, make sure you subscribe the AstroSourashis for cosmic content and press the bell icon. Thank you. If you land on Mercury, the first thing you will notice is that the Sun is huge. Obviously, Mercury is the closest planet from Sun. Mercury is tidally locked, since Mercury is only about 36 million miles or 57 million kilometers from the Sun, less than half the distance from Earth to the Sun. It gets heat with more intense sunlight. The side facing the Sun can get as hot as 800 degrees Fahrenheit or 430 degrees Celsius. To give you an idea, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. So 800 degrees Fahrenheit is almost 4 times that temperature. It's hot enough to melt lead and far too hot for any human or most known materials. Spacesuits and equipment designed for humans couldn't keep us cool enough at that temperature. But what about the night side? Without an atmosphere to trap heat, temperatures plummet on the dark side of Mercury, reaching lows of minus 330 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 200 degrees Celsius. That's almost as cold as the surface of Pluto. This is colder than the coldest places on Earth, like Antarctica, by several hundred degrees. Such intense cold would freeze any unprotected life or equipment instantly. Now the main point, lack of atmosphere. Unlike Earth, Mercury doesn't have a thick atmosphere. Its gravity is strong enough to hold on to gases that would form an atmosphere because of the planet's small size and the Sun's intense heat. So instead of a layer of air, there's an extremely thin exosphere that's mostly made of particles like oxygen, sodium, and hydrogen, but it's far too thin to provide breathable air or any protection. Without air, you would have nothing to breathe, and any sounds or smells would disappear. Radiation on Mercury is a major danger. Our Sun emits radiation constantly, especially in the form of ultraviolet rays and solar wind, a stream of charged particles. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field protect us from most of this radiation, but Mercury has neither, leaving its surface exposed. In short, if a human were on Mercury, the extreme heat or cold, lack of air, and intense radiation would make survival impossible within seconds. Surviving on Venus is nearly impossible because the conditions there are extremely harsh and dangerous. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system, even hotter than Mercury, which is closer to the Sun. The average surface temperature on Venus is around 475 degrees Celsius or 900 degrees Fahrenheit. If we were to step on Venus, we would be burned within seconds due to this intense heat. Venus has a thick atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide with clouds of sulfuric acid. This atmosphere traps heat in a process called the greenhouse effect, which is why the planet is so hot. Breathing this air is impossible because there's almost no oxygen. Also, sulfuric acid clouds are incredibly corrosive, meaning they can cause serious burns and destroy any material we would wear or use for protection. The atmospheric pressure on Venus is 92 times higher than ours. It's like being almost a kilometer underwater. This kind of pressure would crush us immediately if we were on the surface, even in a spacesuit. The winds on Venus are extremely powerful, reaching speeds of 224 miles per hour or 360 km per hour in the upper atmosphere, and there's constant lightning. These winds and lightning storms add another dangerous layer to the planet's condition. In short, on Venus, we would be cooked by the heat, crushed by the pressure, unable to breathe, and burned by acidic clouds, all in just a few seconds. Surviving on Mars is almost impossible without a lot of protection because of how different the planet is from Earth. Mars' atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, about 95%, and has almost no oxygen, only 0.13%. Without oxygen, humans can breathe, so you would be suffocated within seconds. Mars is far from the Sun, so it's freezing. The average temperature is around minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 60 degrees Celsius. Mars has very thin air, less than 1% of Earth's pressure. This low pressure makes human blood start to boil, causing bubbles to form in your body, definitely fatal without a pressurized suit, with night temperatures dropping even lower. This is cold enough to cause hypothermia in seconds without special suit. Earth's temperature protects us from the Sun's harmful radiation, but Mars doesn't have this protection. Radiation levels on Mars are deadly, staying unprotected would expose us to high radiation levels, increasing cancer risk and damaging organs. Mars experiences huge dust storms that cover the entire planet. The dust is very fine and can damage equipment, making it hard to survive or move around even with a suit. So without any modern equipment, you will only survive about 2 minutes. Now, moving to the next planet, Jupiter. Surviving on Jupiter is impossible for humans because the environment there is extreme in many ways. Jupiter doesn't have a solid surface like Earth. It's a giant ball of gas, mostly made of hydrogen and helium. If you tried to land, you would just sink down into thick gas, and as you go deeper, the pressure increases dramatically. The pressure is so strong that it would crush you instantly. It's like being at the bottom of an ocean that's thousands of times deeper than any on Earth. Even spacecraft can survive this pressure for long. Jupiter's temperatures are extremely cold near the outer layers, reaching around -145 degrees Celsius or -234 degrees Fahrenheit. But as you go deeper, it becomes incredibly hot, hotter than even the surface of the sun. This huge temperature changes makes it impossible for humans to survive, even the protective suits. Jupiter's atmosphere is full of toxic gases like ammonia and methane, which would be deadly if inhaled. There's also almost no oxygen, so humans wouldn't be able to breathe at all. Jupiter has very powerful radiation belts, much stronger than anything we experience on Earth. This radiation would be strong enough to kill a human within seconds. Radiation would also quickly damage any spacecraft that tries to get too close. In short, Jupiter is a beautiful planet to look at, but is deadly to humans because of the crashing pressure, intense cold and heat, poisonous gases and extreme radiation. So here, survival time is instant death. Now, the next planet, Saturn. Saturn is a gas giant, meaning it doesn't have a solid surface like Earth. Its surface is actually just a thick layer of clouds made mostly of hydrogen and helium. If you try to stand on Saturn, you would just sink down through the layers of gas. As you sink into Saturn's atmosphere, the pressure would increase massively. The deeper you go, the higher the pressure, which would crush you quickly. It's like being under a deep ocean, but way more intense. Saturn is far from the sun, so it's extremely cold. The outer layers have temperatures as low as -178 degrees Celsius or -288 degrees Fahrenheit. This will freeze you instantly. Saturn's atmosphere has almost no oxygen, which we need to breathe. Instead, there's mostly hydrogen and helium, which would make it impossible for us to survive even for a second without specialized equipment. Saturn has incredibly fast winds, reaching speeds of over 1,100 miles per hour or 1,770 km per hour. These winds would easily toss anything around, making it dangerous and unstable. In short, Saturn's extreme cold, crashing pressure, lack of oxygen, and lack of solid ground make it impossible for us to survive there, even for a brief moment. Next planet, Uranus. Surviving on Uranus would be impossible for us because of its extreme and hostile environment. Uranus doesn't have a solid surface like Earth. It's a gas giant, meaning it's mostly made up of swirling gases like hydrogen and helium. There's no place to stand or land. So if you try to land there, you just sink down through thick layers of gas. Uranus is one of the coldest planets in the solar system. Its temperatures can drop as low as -224 degrees Celsius or -371 degrees Fahrenheit, which is far colder than any place on Earth. Without specialized spacesuits, you would freeze in seconds. As you sink down, the pressure of the atmosphere increases drastically. The deeper you go, the more the gas layers push down, creating a crashing force that would squash a human in seconds. Even spacecraft would struggle to handle this pressure. The atmosphere of Uranus is mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, and a bit of methane, which gives it a blue-green color. There's no oxygen, so without a spacesuit or breathing equipment, you wouldn't last at all. Uranus had winds that blow at speeds up 900 km per hour or 560 miles per hour. These winds would be strong enough to throw anything off balance, making it impossible to survive, even if other conditions were somehow liable. In short, the extreme cold, intense atmospheric pressure, lack of oxygen, and absence of solid ground make Uranus completely unlivable for humans. Surviving on Neptune for even a few seconds would be impossible for humans due to several extreme conditions on the planet. Neptune is about 30 times farther from the Sun than Earth, making it incredibly cold. The temperature on Neptune can drop to -218 degrees Celsius or -360 degrees Fahrenheit, which is far colder than anywhere on Earth. Humans would freeze almost instantly in such cold temperatures. Neptune's atmosphere is made mostly of hydrogen, helium and methane, with no oxygen at all. Humans need oxygen to breathe, so without it, we should suffocate quickly. As we go deeper into Neptune, the pressure increases dramatically. Near the surface, the pressure is already around 100 times greater than ours. This crushing pressure would crush any human body almost instantly. Neptune is known for having the most intense storms in the solar system, with winds reaching speeds of over 1,500 miles per hour or 2,400 kilometers per hour. These violent winds would tear apart anything on the planet's surface, including any human body. These gases in Neptune's atmosphere are toxic to humans. Even if we could breathe them, they would poison our bodies, leading to quick death. So, due to the extreme cold, lack of oxygen, crushing pressure, violent storms, and toxic air, survival on Neptune for even a few seconds is impossible. I forget about Pluto. If you consider it planet, then our next destination is Pluto. Pluto is very far from the Sun, so its temperature is incredibly low, about -375°F or -225°C. This extreme cold would freeze your body almost instantly, especially your organs and tissues, making it impossible to survive. Pluto has no breathable atmosphere. The air on Pluto is made of nitrogen, methane and carbon monoxide, which humans can breathe. Without oxygen, you'd lose consciousness in just a few seconds. The air pressure on Pluto is much lower than on Earth, almost a vacuum. This would cause the gases in your body to expand, leading to a condition called ebullition, where your blood starts to boil at normal body temperature even though it's cold. You would essentially be decomposing very quickly. Pluto doesn't have a strong magnetic field like Earth, which means there's no shield against harmful radiation from the Sun. This radiation would damage your cells and DNA, further threatening your life. Since Pluto is so far from the Sun, sunlight is weak and doesn't provide warmth. On top of this, you wouldn't have any shelter or protection from the sun's radiation. In short, because of the freezing cold, lack of oxygen, low pressure, and harmful radiation, a human could not survive even a few seconds on Pluto. So, do you want to leave Earth and live on these planets? Don't forget to let me know in the comments, and also don't forget to tell me which space journey would you like to go on next. Thanks a lot for watching the full video. See you in the next video. Stay well.